What if there was a city where sleep simply didn't exist? Not a city with insomnia, not a city running on caffeine and stubbornness, but a place where every single person, every single night, for reasons no one could quite explain, simply stopped needing to close their eyes. At first, this sounds like a dream, ironically. Think about it. No more wasted hours lying in bed staring at the ceiling. No more alarm clocks. No more groggy mornings or that awful feeling of being jolted awake before you're ready. If an entire city never slept, imagine the sheer amount of time suddenly available. 8 extra hours a day, every single day, for every single person. Over a year, that's roughly 120 extra full days of waking life. It's almost like being handed an extra third of your year, completely free. But here's where it gets complicated fast. Sleep isn't just rest. It's maintenance. It's the time your brain uses to process memories, repair itself, and essentially perform overnight updates your body needs to keep functioning. A city that never sleeps wouldn't just be a city with more free time, it would be a city slowly breaking down in ways nobody could see right away. Now picture the actual streets of this place. Traditionally, cities have a rhythm, a rush hour in the morning, a lull in the early afternoon, a wind down in the evening, and a quiet, empty stillness late at night. In a city that never sleeps, that rhythm disappears entirely. Streets stay just as busy at 3 in the morning as they do at 3 in the afternoon. Restaurants never close. Stores run 24 hours, not as a marketing gimmick, but because there's genuinely no other option. The entire concept of closing time would cease to exist. Public transportation would need a complete redesign too. Trains and buses currently run on schedules built around when people sleep and when they wake up. Remove that variable entirely, and you'd need constant, evenly distributed service around the clock, every single day, forever. No off-peak hours. No maintenance windows overnight, because there is no overnight anymore, not in the traditional sense. Every hour would essentially be rush hour, somewhere. Now think about relationships, and something as simple as togetherness. Right now, most families share a similar sleep schedule, even if imperfectly, they wind down together, they wake up together. In a city where sleep no longer exists, would people still choose to rest together anyway, just out of habit and comfort? Or would everyone drift into their own personal, constant, non-stop schedule, working, socializing, and living at completely different, disconnected hours, even while living under the same roof? There's also the economic side of this, and it's massive. Workplaces would need to fundamentally change. If employees never need to sleep, does the traditional 8-hour workday even make sense anymore? Would companies push for longer shifts, since fatigue is no longer a factor? Would burnout look completely different, since the exhaustion wouldn't come from lack of rest, but simply from non-stop, unrelenting activity, day after day, with no natural pause built into the human body to force people to slow down? And this brings us to the darker side of a city like this. Silence and stillness serve an important emotional purpose too, not just a biological one. Nighttime, for many people, is when the noise of the day fades, when reflection happens, when the mind is finally allowed to slow down and just exist quietly for a while. Remove sleep entirely, and you might also remove that built-in mental pause the human brain has relied on for its entire existence. Would anxiety and mental exhaustion increase, simply because there's no natural off switch anymore, no forced moment of stillness the body requires? Crime and safety would shift dramatically too. Right now, certain hours of the night are statistically quieter simply because most people are asleep. Remove that, and you remove one of the most basic natural deterrents cities currently rely on: fewer witnesses, fewer people around. In a city that never sleeps, every hour has just as many potential witnesses as every other hour. In some ways, that could make the city safer. In others, it means there's truly no quiet corner left, anywhere, ever. Culturally, entire industries built around nighttime, and its absence, would transform completely too. Nightlife wouldn't be a separate experience anymore, restricted to weekends or evenings. It would simply be life, all the time, blended seamlessly into everything else, morning, afternoon, evening, indistinguishable from one another. But maybe the most interesting question is this: without sleep acting as a natural reset button, would time itself start to feel different? Days blending endlessly into other days, with no clear beginning and no clear end. Would people start losing track, not of hours or minutes, but of entire days, weeks, maybe even years, simply because nothing ever paused long enough to mark the difference? So, would a city like this actually thrive, freed from one of humanity's oldest limitations? Or would it slowly discover that sleep was never really the problem to begin with, that it was actually the solution, quietly protecting us from ourselves the entire time? Maybe the city that never sleeps wouldn't be a utopia of endless productivity after all. Maybe it would just be a city that forgot how to stop.